What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior James.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, episode 1 again. Thank you all for coming in for the 4th annual first ever Boozies right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys, with me today to go through our awards, the crew. Bishop, how's it going, man?
What's up, sir? Thank you for having me on for the Boozies at TV Takes Podcast on Twitter, tvtakespodcast.com for all platforms where I will eventually start releasing again. Marsh, my friend, I am happy to be here yet again. First time, right? Episode 1?
I believe this is your first episode 1. And we got Digi coming through.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Coming live from the Mad Mod Squad headquarters.
Hell yeah, and Grim Reaper coming through straight out of the chat. Don't call it a comeback.
Hey, senior contributor Grim Reaper here. Hi, everybody. Glad to be a part of the Boozies. We're very excited to be here. Let's wrap up 2022.
I'm so ready to be out of 2022. Did anybody else notice how 2022 was 3 years long?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I was thinking about it before we get into the awards, just in general. When I think about what happened in WrestleMania this year, I could have sworn that was well over a year ago. Mickie James coming out to the Rumble with the TNA title, easily 2 to 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Shane McMahon being fired a decade ago. You know what I mean? Like the amount of stuff. Logan Paul. Stone Cold,
guy.
Vince, all happened. Pat McAfee. Dude, it's insane the amount of shit. That whole when did Rock's movie come out with the egg? Did that barely make it
Survivor Series the year before?
Oh, yeah.
They ran from Survivor Series to Mania with that one story of that stupid egg. That was amazing. I don't know. It was a lot happened this year. So
I think the fact that Logan Paul, like all 3 of his matches were this year. I had to remember that. That's what threw me for a loop. I was like, wait, he definitely like had a year to marinate it on it, right? No, he didn't.
No,
it was all this year.
Yeah. As I was kind of like running through like just things that happened this year, all of them, I was like, seriously, in 1 year. So, yeah, guys, let's see. Justin Times in the chat. It says a toast to all the Boozie winners in the die bar of the IWC. Cheers, in time, bro. I hit him up to see if he wanted to be on tomorrow's. Never heard back. So time's running out for him to get in with his brother on tomorrow. And tomorrow the awards are gonna go to AEW, NXT, and any kind of indie promotions that are there. Tonight is primarily WWE exclusive, especially from my list. One? I mean, I don't know if there's awards to give AEW, so I don't think it's like a moot point.
Well, you said the one that's best thing not on TV.
Yeah,
is that
That'd be the world champion most of the time,
or the
or Danhausen. I mean,
but also since you 3 are not going to be on tomorrow's show, then if you guys slid in some AEW, NXT stuff, it's a non-issue. It's just I'm not going to do the same list twice. So, it goes. Guys, let's do a little bit of what's in your glass. Hey, Bishop, what are you drinking? I just saw you pull from a giant bottle of vodka.
No, all water. Dad duty tonight. All good, though. But I did celebrate some ice cream out of a Toy Story bowl. But you guys took too long to get going, so I ate it all before we started.
Yeah, you can't sit on ice cream, and it's limited time only. Digi, what do you got in your glass there? What are you drinking?
Absinthe and coffee.
Absinthe and coffee.
Yeah,
you gotta stay up for the hallucinations. You don't want to fall asleep for it.
This is true.
And Graham, what do you got? What's in your glass?
I'm going with ye old Guinness tonight.
Ooh.
It's winter, cold weather, dark beer's the way to go. Yeah.
I'm having. So I work in a cigar shop from time to time, and every now and again, when we get something that's so exclusive that we don't know if we're ever going to get it back, you put a limit on it. Only 2 people, or only like 2 items per customer, kind of a deal per day. Like you can't come back the same day and get the same thing again. Like we're watching, right? So I was in a liquor store the other day, and they had a very similar thing up by the front. These little bottles that said they were like $10 for 1 shooter, and it said limit 2 per customer. And so I was like, well, whatever this is, it's not coming around often. So I bought it, and then I took it over to somebody's house because I thought I was going to have it that night, and I ended up not. But as soon as I walked in, they said, oh, shit. They knew exactly what it was, and they apparently have had it before. Apparently the bottles are hard to come by in the full size, so the little sizes are pretty rare too. But it's called Blanton's Single Barrel Bourbon. I've not had it. It's got a little horse and jockey on top.
Very fancy.
Anything that comes with a Monopoly piece, I'm into already.
Alcoholics everywhere just cringed.
Yeah, that's some expensive stuff right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it comes, and then I'll play Monopoly, and I'll have my little guy here, and we're good. So I'm gonna have this. As long as oh yeah, look at that little guy, dude. Oh my god, look at him. Oh,
yeah,
so
man.
good. Get
I'll
up
make you a
jockey.
little stand for that bad boy.
Yeah, and then I'm having it in my WWE etched glass because I'm a shill and a mark.
Not you.
Yep. Let's see. Justin Times in the chat. He says, dude, it's even got cork, like actual cork.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it smells good. Are you familiar with Blanton's, Digi? Because I know that you've been pretty familiar with most boozes we've ever talked about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the bigger bottles, I've had 3 or 4 in my day. They wax seal them. It's good cork. They don't use bottom shelf. Like, it's money for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's better than proper 12, so.
I do like proper number 12. Proper number 12! Proper number 12!
I love my boy McGregor, but come on, man.
Well, it's a good booze. It's a good booze for $10, man. You kidding me?
Yep. it should have been like champagne top shelf kind of stuff, not like
No. Do you know
I
where he
could buy
came
it
from?
at a Wegmans.
He's an everyman.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I
where he
guess.
came from and what like his community. He's not trying to price out his own people, man. He's trying to go, hey, what could I have had when I was up and coming? You know what I mean? Like, big shouts to the guys who think about the little dudes, not trying to outprice all of us, you know?
Oh no, I mean he gets that all day long because that's just McGregor, you know.
That's not to say he doesn't have probably 2 or 3 bottles of some super high-end version of that in his house. But for the mass appeal, he wants the mass number of people, man.
Yeah, proper number 112. That's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn right, man. He's trying to sell tickets, man.
Well,
Yeah. So I don't know. Was there any other facts about it, Digi, that I ought to know before I try it? Because
nope.
Yes, it
The
is.
only facts you need is the taste in your mouth.
dude, Bishop says the same thing to me all the time. It has nothing to do with whiskey.
That's off air.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's TW Takes.
That's really good. That's smooth for
Yeah.
something that smells like it's probably going to be harsh. You know what I mean? It has that initial, almost like super alcoholic smell to it, where it's almost butane-y by first smell, and you go, "Oh, this is going to be a strong one," but it's still remarkably smooth because a lot of those have that like weird, throaty kind of thing in it.
That second taste, you're gonna feel
I'll do
that
that
warm.
Yeah, he also says that.
Yeah, that second
Very
sip,
throaty.
man. We're gonna see the warmth come over him, and Marsh is gonna relax a little. It's gonna be so good.
Dude, you sound so much like Bishop right now. It's crazy.
Just breathe.
Just breathe. It's all about the finesse.
He's telling you, man, he's getting the vapors.
Yeah. Just in time to say too much short-term memory loss to remember everything that happened this year for sure. Guys, let's do some awards. Let's get through it. Let's do it. I don't think there's any other news stuff going on. I think this is a good week to not review much because Raw was a best of show that was probably their worst of show. Not that it had the worst of, it just was the worst. Like if you were to highlight next year, this episode's not coming up.
Yeah.
Also, as a second note, as much as we've been talking highly of the Bray and LA Knight stuff, and as much as it's been getting a little off kilter a little bit, this past Bray segment, correct me if I'm wrong, to me was the worst of all of them thus far. He's starting to really lose the plot, I think.
Well, it's obviously meant to be a slow burn story to try to differentiate him from living on the Fiend gimmick, because that's how, like, the Fiend, it was done. You know,
Sure, but a slow burn still burns. This was like going back to square one with his promo.
Yeah,
And that
I think
was my
the
problem.
LA Knight, great performer, but I don't feel this should have been the first feud coming back.
Like Bray
it's
or
just
LA Knight?
LA
Oh,
Knight.
Bray?
I don't think this is the guy for Bray. I think this would have been, you know, they could have went somewhere else with it entirely. I just don't think he's a good fit for it.
Yeah, their pairing is strange, though. I think it's what makes it interesting, but it also, which I think it's starting to get to a point where, like, what are we doing? But let's see, Bishop. I'm gonna start with you on this one. I told you we're starting bottoms up. I sent everybody the same list of Boozies, and we're gonna start. We kind of like to try and get the negative out of the way first because this is a highlight show, really, right? And so, what's possibly more negative than a "You're Drunk Go Home" award, which is a superstar or storyline that you just don't want to see anymore?
Yeah, it's actually been happening to me for a while, and I appreciate it, and I'm not excited for it to come back. It's Cody and his whole "I'm here for you," like I'm the underdog guy, recapturing or capturing what my family never did. I get it, like his appeal in WWE is way higher than I thought it was because he just wasn't. He was barely accepted in AEW, but the rhetoric on the mic is like, dude, you're not that guy. That's not what it is at all. And so yeah, like with all the talk of him possibly coming back for this or that or whatever, if he does, I want it to look different. Like just don't, even with the same, you know, the gear, like change the gear, do something different. Still be the Nightmare. You can still have the same music, but act differently, do something differently, talk something differently. So with his return around the corner, I just don't want it to be that way.
I just feel like that with him, it works better if if the story would, like, I think the biggest thing that, I mean, and the obviously most clear thing, the injury really set him out. But I think that what set him out more than just the concept of being injured is the amount of time we're going without context. He came in, he said these things right away, and you go, okay, I see where he's coming from emotionally. How are they going to show us this, right? They did some really good packages. Obviously, they showed a picture of his dad in the MSG thing. So they're trying to provide some context, but I thought the story was going to be the build that we were going to hang our hat on, and he wasn't going to be just this guy showing up to right those wrongs effectively, that there'd be more to it. This time away and him kind of stepping right back where you left off just feels like, didn't we do this last year? Like, wasn't this the beginning of the year before? Like, time away has done him no favors because we've missed all the amount of time we've needed to be providing context. So I see what you're saying. I don't know if you're right or wrong. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm happy to have him back. I guess we just have to see how it plays out, right?
It doesn't help that, his 3 matches back were all Seth Rollins. Both great performers, but it may as well have been the rubber match of the year.
I mean, so I think some people did put that as their rubber match of the year. Like, that was amazing. And the feud was fantastic. Digi, what was your drunk go home award?
I'm tired of the Bianca Belair Bayley feud that went on for like 6 matches. It just needed to stop. Like, they're great performers, but how many times can you tell the same story that is the exact same story over and over again? I get the Mean Girls, but why are you going to do the Mean Girls thing over and over and over again? I'm glad it's looking like it's moving on, and I think that's where it needs to stay in 2022.
It's definitely not a best of 7. They've done much better than that. Grim.
Mm-hmm.
What's your drunk go home?
Yep. Well, actually, Digi, I'm going to piggyback off what you're saying. For 2023, I want to see the Raw Women's title off of Bianca. I understand there's this journey of beating all 4 horsewomen. So, Marsh, cover your ears. Charlotte will be returning probably sometime soon in 2023.
You're drunk, go home.
She'll get the, so either it'll happen at Mania or SummerSlam or something like that. But I'm not sure who that is yet. Maybe it's a contender that is yet to show themselves or build themselves up through 2023, whether it be a show up at WrestleMania and then they get the main event at SummerSlam against Bianca. Let's think about it. She won at WrestleMania. So for Mania to Mania, it'll be a full year after that. Then maybe we could see her move on. I'm not talking about the underdog story. I just mean move her out of the title picture for now, just to give someone else the shine, and maybe she'll have a feud with someone later on in 2023.
The weird thing about Bianca is every major victory she has along the road to the championship feels so important and so major. And her title reigns have been so flat. And I can't seem to figure out why, because it's not like she makes a bad champ. It's not like she's not having good matches. It's not like she's not making her opponent look good. But something about her title reigns have been flat, and I don't know what that disconnect is. But I will say it's the difference between a Bianca and a Bayley or a Becky. When they have the title reign, that feels more important than the moment when they won it. Bianca is on the other side of the moment winning it is more important than the whole thing, right? So I do think something's got to change with Bianca in that regard. We all want her to win it every time she's up against it. And then when she does, we're all kind of like, all right, well, I guess give someone else a turn. Like, why does it feel like someone deserves a turn? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think the Bianca part of it is that everything she does is about how good she is. When Becky has the title, it's how important the title is. And it's not necessarily the character is itself when it's Becky, whether it's the man or the GOAT or what have you. And she shows you how important the title is. Bianca doesn't show us how important the title is. She shows us how good she is, but she doesn't show us how important the title is. I think that's the biggest disconnect.
You have Becky 2 belts, Bayley Doe straps. Like, it was a whole thing wrapped around the importance of the championship when they had their reign. So I'm with you on that, Bishop.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. Bianca's rise is the importance of her ability to stay on top and get on top. So,
it's like the 2-week title reign of Liv. It wasn't about how cool Liv was. It was, I got this title. This title is so awesome. I beat so and so for it. It mattered.
Yeah.
I agree with you there too, because I think that's the better example is had Liv had a different opponent and was able to breathe, the chance to stay behind Liv would have been there. But everything that happened with Ronda is just a nightmare. Because look now, everybody's behind Liv again. Like,
yeah.
So,
and I'm sure we'll talk more about Bianca as we go. But there's something should change up in the women's stuff as much as we like it. My drunk go home is no surprise to anyone here. The one thing I'd rather not see ever again, Johnny Gargano. So if Gargano could just see his way the fuck out, I'd be good.
Work with Regal backstage. Work with the wrestlers.
Don't do that.
Work in the,
Terrible. He provides nothing. So
go back to NXT. You're done, sir.
Here's the deal. I would say that would sound good if he has been surrounded by anyone who showed improvement by being around him.
Gear. He's decent at gear. So he can help other people.
No, he's not decent at gear. He has a gear person. He gives them a shoddy sketch. They sort it out. And all he thinks about is, what does my next action figure look like? He's toyetic, as they say. But no, he's and his gears aren't original. They are, this is what my style is. Make it Iron Man.
Yeah, very.
It's all rip off of someone else. Even his Super Johnny Takeover one was all the pieces of the ripped off cosplays. Like, no, if you want gear help, you go to Bianca. If you want booking help, you can go to Regal. If you want comedy help, anyone but Johnny will be funny.
You know what?
Go to KO.
No, Marsh. No. It's not ripping off. It's inspiration. Inspire this.
I just haven't seen improvement from anyone being surrounded by him. But I'm sure he's very nice. He seems to love his child. That's cool. Most dads should. So let's see. So the next one, as we get going, as we're building in. Oh, and you know what's funny is I left some of my ones from last year so I could kind of tell you guys what some of them were. The last year ones were Streets, Profits, and Charlotte. And I was like, I could leave those. However, there is a worst case scenario here. Just in Time does say, Grim, why did you have to bring up the Forbidden Sea name? And then says, Justin, still feel the same. Huge Gargano fan, but whatever he's doing now is pure ass. Dude, he could go be with the Acclaimed. He could go be an ass boy. All right, next award coming up. I'll kick it off. The Got Me Buzzing, a match or storyline you want to see next year coming up. Funnily enough, actually, I'll bring this part up later. My last year's one was Big E and Goldberg, or Becky and Tony Storm. I've been clamoring for that one, and then obviously Tony disappeared this year. A lot happened this year. So mine, the one that I'm like anxious for now in this moment for next year, is actually Becky and Bayley. They've already started a little thing going on, and I can't wait to see where this builds to and where we go with it. Bishop, what do you got for the Got Me Buzzing?
To your Becky and Bayley thing, of course, we agree on that. We've agreed on the last couple of episode ones. But also Bayley today has been tweeting on the lists of matches or whatever. Every time she's mentioned, she goes, yeah, but I beat Becky.
Yep.
But I beat Becky. So they're definitely sowing the seeds, and I can't wait for that. For me, Got Me buzzing that I want to see next year is Gunther versus everyone. I want him against Brock. I want him against Roman. I want him against Braun Breaker. I want Gunther against every single top star of all time ever. I want Gunther versus the world. He did so fucking amazing this year that any sniff of something, even how disastrous this Braun Strowman thing looks, Gunther's going to do something amazing with it. So
yes, it's going to be neat. Graham, we'll go to you next. What's your got you buzzing? What do you want to see next year?
Listen, I got really hopped up seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin have a match this past WrestleMania. Because if you even go back, his last official match was WrestleMania 19, and you kind of fast forward to WrestleMania 30, I think it was, when he stood in the ring with Hogan and Rock, and then 32 with Foley and HBK clearing out the League of Nations, and then a stunner on Woods and stuff. But it was all spot stuff. He didn't actually have a real match in how long. So 38 really, opened up a lot of eyes. Like, wow, Austin like had it. And now you see all the videos of him training and everything. He really wants to get back into that ring general shape again as much as he can. So, everything leaning towards potentially WrestleMania 39 to see Austin lace up the boots, stomp a mud hole. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't even want to put names out there. Maybe to make a star or something, kind of like how kind of pushed KO over the edge last year, kind of igniting his spark from last year. So I don't know who would take that spot, but I'm very excited to see what Austin's going to do in the ring this coming year.
I don't know if I have a mod in the channel, but can someone boot that motherfucker in the Twitch? You can't do it from my side.
I agree with you. I think it's most likely going to happen though. I think the idea of, speculation now, these old guys are taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
To do one or two things a year better than they ever have. And that's no disrespect to the Undertaker because he never stopped. Well,
Yeah.
he ran until the gas was gone and the wheels fell off and all that shit. But I mean, the way Austin looked at WrestleMania and what he could do once a year till whenever,
for sure.
Yeah, fucking A.
Who would you put him up against real quick, Bishop?
I just automatically think of The Rock. Rock
and Stone Cold one more time.
I mean, why not?
I wouldn't do it because we had them both in their prime.
It's the first thing that pops in my head every time.
Sure.
So why not, man?
That's
or
fine.
Let KO get a win. That'd be cool.
Digi, who would your Stone Cold dream opponent be, and then what's your Got Me Buzzy?
You know what?
Not even dream opponent, just someone you'd put him up with right now.
Oh, that I'd put him up with right now? Kevin Owens, of course.
Again?
Yeah, because
all right.
Yeah,
fair.
Run it back one more time. Give him his, give him his thing.
Get that win back, boy.
Yeah, man, come on, make it a 1-to-1.
Yeah. Digi, what's your Got Me Buzzy?
Man, I know I'm gonna catch some heat for this. I want to see where this Wyatt Six stuff goes because while the story may be a slow boil, and I mean slow as all hell. With a lot of the potential returns of people that have been teased, there's so many different people that can come into it. This can be a real faction and not just a faction that loses everywhere. So I want to see what they're going to do with it because now that he's got the backing of the company, this could turn into something magical, not something crap.
Absolutely. I 100% agree that the hype and the fire for him is there. Can they capitalize? And I hope that they do.
Do you think right now he has too much control of the segments? That maybe he needs a little bit more tailoring?
Yeah. I think it's absolutely
I think so too. I think so too. Yeah.
I think he's being tailored.
No way. No way.
Oh,
not one other person in WWE can think this way. The way this shit's coming off, there's no way they're reining this shit in. There's no way they're reining this shit in. And there's no way they're pointing him in any type of direction. This shit's way too fucking crazy.
And I'm going to point you back to an interview when they were speculating whether he'd come back. Triple H says that, Bray's the kind of guy that you need to rein him in. Otherwise, he's going to change it 5 seconds later because he thinks he's got something better. So I almost guarantee somebody's reining him in. There might be a huge disjointment to the matter.
I think what we're seeing right now is them feeding him the rope. So as they can say, look, it's starting to peter out. Right. Let's go this direction. I think that they're letting him hang himself, not in a bad way. It's not like, hey, you're falling off the edge, more like a repelling thing. Hey, you're getting a little loose. Let's pull you back. I think they're letting him loose a little right now. Is what it feels like. And I don't know. What do we know?
Fair.
Just because of this last promo was so repetitive and call back to its initial thing that I was like, all right, someone's not telling him, hey, you already said this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this as punting for the holidays. I really think this is just, a standalone promo. He probably did it in his his studio or something. Like, probably wasn't even on site or something, but just just go through the whole thing. Bishop, you talked about, we were both at Extreme Rules in Philly. The buzz was there. Everyone was on it. All the craziness. And I know, yes, things have tapered down, way down since then. I really believe it's going to ramp up for the road to WrestleMania, like Royal Rumble. Like, if there was a pay-per-view, if there was another day one this year, I think we would have had a little more meat and potatoes. But especially with the huge tag match coming in a couple days, I think it's going to start gaining steam as we head towards WrestleMania. I'm not losing hope yet.
He just got back in the ring. So
Jinder Mahal, they battled outside the ring, got in the ring, bell rang, and Sister Abigail'd him.
Yep. Yeah, they're getting him ready. They're getting him ready to start doing stuff for sure. The Give Them a Chance Award. Somebody you want to see get a bigger push next year. Graham, I'm going to start with you. What do you got?
I'm going to go with the man who is on the bench right now, Mr. Rick Boogs. Okay, I want him to get a little more of a push next year. I love the whole Shinsuke dynamic as a tag team. Pat McAfee dancing on the desk. All that was awesome for 2022. Rick Boogs was jacked before he got hurt. He's super, super jacked now. Like, him, I don't know if it's his brother or best friend. Like, two guys are in there. But yeah, so I want him pushed. Go forward. I mean, looking at mid to late 2023. I know he's got to get back from the injury and all that, but I want to see what he does as a single star. Maybe he starts back up with Shinsuke. Maybe he turns on him. Maybe Shinsuke turns on him. Something like that. Just let's give him like a singles program. I could imagine a Rick Boogs versus Gunther match. That would be nice. Like way down the line, late 23, early 24, when we start building up Boogs as a single star. I just think that that's going to be a push for him, but I'm voting for Rick Boogs next year to take the next level.
The only reason I'm not going to say your head so far up your ass right now, because this dude was pushed to the moon when he was there, is the fact that now that there's someone new booking, we don't know how Triple H feels about Boogs. So I'll give you that one, and I won't slam you for saying that a super well-booked person needs a better push this year.
Wow.
Well, Marsh, it's funny that you just said that, though, because when we're talking about 2022, there is a line of demarcation between January through April, May, you want to say, to June through December, like when they dropped the 2.0 and NXT and all that. So, when we're talking, you are right. We are talking about two different WWEs-ish, we got to take that with a grain of salt. But yes, I'm thinking Rick Boogs. I think maybe the push is not just better booking, but push him out to a single star.
Yeah, and get commentary to put him over for once.
I know. Dancing on his desk isn't enough.
What's your give them a chance? Somebody wants to get a bigger push next year.
I'm going with Dolph Ziggler, and I say it's because the guy's only got so many years left in him. He puts everybody over in a shine and polish like you wouldn't believe. Give him something on the way out. It's nice that you can roll a package from like 8-9 years ago, but give just a little something. He's still got it while you got him.
He's younger than AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley.
But he's no AJ Styles or Bobby Lashley.
Oh, he's 42.
He's 42.
Yeah.
He's younger than them. And you think that his shape or work tells you that he's starting to fall off from being overworked?
I think
he's a message
he's more
in a bottle.
interested in comedy. He's the guy that he wants to do his comedy. He's got his other side projects that he's obviously doing and committing a lot much more time to. He's got one foot out the door.
So
why would you want him pushed?
Well,
because
he wants him to have a nice farewell.
So you want to push him out the door?
Yeah, push him out the door.
Give him a nice farewell. Thank you for jobbing to like 12 billion people over the years.
For the last 10 years,
Well, he did have a shine early this year being the NXT champion. He kind of gave a nice rub to Braun Breaker. So NXT gave him a little bit of like a refresh, a coat of paint. Mind you, again, early 2022, that might have been more of a Vince McMahon direction for him. As we head to to next year, who knows? But he did have a little bit of shine towards the beginning of the year. But yes, towards the end, he did kind of taper out.
I will say that I'm just a little like I don't need like a ton of insight. I don't understand where you're getting the concept that he's got one foot out the door and he's so invested in his comedy. And I only say that as somebody who is connected to the LA comedy scene and knows how much he goes out and does stuff. I've asked specifically to the scene. This dude's like, his brother is a lot more active in that scene, I will say.
Well,
I think it's just something he likes to do.
True. Like, as far as somebody on the outside looking at, because I don't have, Marsh contacts. I just look at, what I see him actually doing than what is probably actually happening. So,
yeah, I think he's fallen back on the comedy when he's just not booked to do other stuff. Is what that's the impression I get. So I also agree with you that let's do more with him. This dude's ready to go. Yeah. He's only 42. He's in incredible shape. He never doesn't put it all out there. Utilize.
Used to have a tag partner that could help with the tag scene too.
Are you talking about
Bobby back on TV?
Drew McIntyre his tag partner?
No,
The
Bobby
android?
Roode.
Oh, please.
Bobby Roode, man.
Oh. The Dirty Dogs.
Glorious.
The Dirty Dogs.
Do you think the Dirty Dogs come back and challenge Sami Zayn, my dog?
That would be. Would it be a dog fight or a kennel match? I mean,
Dog pit fight.
They would actually team together and be the
dog
three dogs, and then go up against the Shield, which is the Cerberus, the three-headed dog, and then it would just be
And
a
then
six-headed
Road
dog.
Dogg would be the referee.
Exactly.
Okay.
They would be the Hound Pound.
and then Snoop Dogg would sue the shit out of him for using the dog
No,
pound.
Snoop
gimmick.
Dogg on commentary. Did you hear
Snoop
it?
Dogg on commentary. Snoop Dogg on
Commentary. Yeah.
commentary.
That's a motherfucker Hall of
And then-
Famer right there.
And then Rick Steiner on the outside as an enforcer as the dog face gremlin.
Yep.
Mm,
Perfect.
the one that can do math.
Yeah.
Well, the other one can do math too. It's just his own math.
Justin
family
Hunches definitely felt like they just re-aired his comeback promo talking about the old Bray thing from a minute ago, and he also says put them in a kennel from hell. There you go, dude. Kennel from hell match. Hell in a kennel. Bishop, what was your you wish they got pushed better, or you'd like to see get a big push this coming year?
So I was gonna say Roman. I was
Yeah.
gonna say Roman because fuck it, like why not? Like Roman,
Mm-hmm.
because every
They're just
time
scratching
you
the
think,
surface with him.
dude, every time you think like, well, what else can they do? They do something else, and it just looks fucking awesome all the time. But we the ones. We the ones. But no, then I thought about it again, and I was like, well, maybe Bobby Lashley because his heavyweight title reign really didn't get the look it should have, and he's looking fucking great right now. He is like in this zone of Bobby Lashley doing stuff. But then you kind of see the writing on the wall of Alexa, you know?
Yeah.
Alexa, I mean, so why guess her? So I just said, I got two. I got Solo Sikoa and Nikki. I think Solo and Nikki Cross are really headed for something special in 23.
Yeah.
If it doesn't even like Solo didn't have a bad match on the main roster or in NXT. In NXT, Marsh would always complain on that other episode 1 that the character's awesome, but what are we doing? He's fucking losing all the time. He's got nothing to him. From the second he showed up at Clash of the Castle, he's made his presence felt. Every match he's in is a fucking awesome one. I'm ready to see him get some wins and really push forward for something in 23. And I think we're seeing the start of Nikki getting a proper story and title run in 23. And I think it'll be fucking amazing.
I agree. And there's a lot of inspiring about when you look at Nikki, even like stuff that she hasn't even really put out there, but just watching her from our perspective, who's had more start stops, who's had more struggles getting something over, who's been fighting from underneath off TV. You know what I mean? Like we see her on there and whatever the character's doing, the response to her has always been, like with one step negative, like everyone's going like, I don't like this, regardless of anything else, whether or not she's able to execute it or whose idea it was or anything. So I think the fact that she just keeps going out there and doing it all every time, I think she's an inspiring person that I hope she does a lot more this year too. My give them a chance. Somebody wants to get a bigger push next year. I put Xia Li. She's a force. She's a badass, and somehow she just keeps jobbing out to weird people. Although in the Gauntlet match, she got a win over Emma and Tegan, and I was happy with that. And then, of course, the one-legged, one-armed Raquel comes out and destroys her. So can do something with that. What's funny is last year, my give them a bigger push next year was Tony Storm and Ricochet. Ricochet has gotten a much better push this year, and Tony Storm, if you remember, was in the feud I wanted to see the coming year after that. But yeah, Xia Li is my one.
FYI, Xia Li has not won a match since March 11th. So yes, she needs a better push next year.
Yep. The sorry to see you go, the person cut that you're going to miss the most. It's gonna be. I'm gonna start this one off because it's kind of funny. Last year was Bray Wyatt and Tegan Knox, and they both came back this year.
Nice.
And the only person I thought, because I mean, there's an obvious one here. The obvious answer, I think, especially given the last couple of weeks, would be Mandy Rose. But Mandy Rose is going to be my one for tomorrow night, so I had to pick a different one tonight. And I decided based off of everything I was noticing I had done, I would say Toni Storm on this one. She was cut this past year, shows up in AEW, and the more I see her in AEW, the more I wish she was back in WWE. She keeps having matches with people I don't think play to her level most of the time. Jamie Hayter's exception, obviously. Thunder Rosa, obviously. But yeah, the more I see her away, the more I want her back. Bishop, who's your sorry to see you go?
Honestly, they're all back. There's nobody I really want back. I think it's the right time for Mox to come back. And the really only person I want to see come back is Pat McAfee. That's it.
Yep. I almost put him too. Digi, who do you got?
I got you covered, Marsh. Mandy Rose, she's had a hell of a resurgence in her career. She went from being somebody's sidekick on the main roster to leading a faction to the point you don't even really care about what she did then. And she's been amazing. And then, oh no, spicy photos. It's like, what is she, one of like 35 people that still work there? You know, it's going to be a damn shame, but she's going to be money printed somewhere else.
Yeah. Yep. Grim, what do you got? Who's your sorry to see you go person cut you're going to miss the most?
You know, while I was pulling this list together, it was going to be William Regal. But now that he's back, or now that he's reported back, I was going to say, well, let me just do the whole thing here. So he might not be back. He might be on holiday, and now he's backstage or something like that. I think more Regal. I'll say that I miss Regal as an on-screen character in WWE. I loved him as the NXT general manager. Again, he was one of the more consistent general managers of our time. So just as an on-screen character in WWE, but in more of an authority role. In the Combat Club, he was okay. He was pretty good, just trying to, he was trying to kind of change his character up a little bit and everything like that. But I want him back in a more authority role in WWE on screen, some type of way. I mean, I know back in early NXT, he got physical, and then later on, he didn't. He was just more of the talking head, maybe more of that, but just something on screen with Regal for WWE.
All right. Yeah. No, I don't come with that. I actually think that they should put him on screen this year anyways, just see what Tony's going to do about it. Like make him flinch, like what?
Right.
What? Yeah. Let's see. The dress to impress, best gear. Digi, what do you got? Who got the best gear of the year for you?
Shotzi Blackheart. And, name me one other person that can roll out as a tank, shows up to Halloween Havoc, always dressed to impress. Every time she goes out, it's something different. She's got her own style, her own look, and you recognize her right out the gate.
It's because her hair.
So, well, it's more than the hair, man. I mean, it's the color, presentation. I mean, she's got a fucking tank, man. How do you not know that?
Right on. Bishop, who do you got? Best gear.
I went with Seth. It's the only thing that popped out is I couldn't think past Seth. He from his in-ring gear to even just the shit he wears during promos. He really stepped it up this year.
True. And then
this was the year
he was dressing to be in the head of his opponent every match.
Yes. Yes.
The Rick Rude effect. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And since I have the mic, I wanted to be as cool as Marsh and pull up my Boozies from last year. And Your Drunk Go Home was Mrs. Comedy, which everybody can enjoy.
It's also part of Johnny.
The Got Me Buzzin' was Edge versus Finn Balor, so I nailed that one. And Bray coming back. To give them a chance was Hangman, but that was just, because he had a shitty title run in AEW. And he didn't get a better push this year either. So that guy should come to WWE. Learn how to wrestle in NXT and be awesome.
Graham, did you do your best to impress? I'm right now. Actually, I'm going to piggyback right off the Bishop here. Seth Rollins and Marsh, you took it right out of me there with the dressing against the opponent. Come on now. On day one, when Seth came down, I'm sorry, it was Royal Rumble, where Seth came down in the Shield garb with the theme song. I'm like, oh, it's on. Like I was pumped. And then the torn pec with Cody He comes out with the polka dotted pants and all that. Like, just those really pop out of me as like the outfits of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally just blew my mind with that.
And even the Clash of the Castle, he came out dressed as Elton John specifically to taunt the fans.
Yep.
For Dress to Impress, for me, I went with Damage Control as a unit. I think what I like about them as a unit, the way they've done it, is, for one, they've all updated their looks from before they were a singular unit. They've all kept their own identifying looks about them, but have also coordinated in fashions that make you know that they're still like a team. I just feel like there's a lot of effort put in there, where a lot of other times you just see, like, what do you want to wear red? I'll wear red. Like, it just doesn't look as much effort as they're putting in there. And it was a tough one. Last year we did like Carmella, and she wasn't even here most this year. So
yeah, I had Bianca and Sonya last year.
Yeah,
Sonya's suit game was on point last year.
Yeah. Let's see. Behind the scenes, best storyline that wasn't on TV, or person that you like their charity work. Any of those kinds of things. This is a little bit more fluid there. I'll start with Digi. Who do you got?
Titus O'Neil, because while he's not getting that on screen, he's out there beating the pavement, meeting the kids. He does a lot of stuff. Like, he's their John Cena and Cena's in Hollywood. He's doing it all, and good on him.
Yep. Grim?
I believe this year, took it right out of me, I think John Cena is up to, he was over 600 wishes in 2019. I think he's headed towards 700. So again, I'm going right off of you, Digi. John Cena always out there with the people, always out. Make-A-Wish, him and Make-A-Wish are like this. So I always see him popping up here, there, and everywhere, making a dream, kid's dream come true. What was it? Was it this year that he flew halfway across the world for a fan?
Yeah.
And he went through the whole thing with them and everything.
That guy escaping Ukraine, yeah.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep. So, so Cena all the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bishop, who do you got?
Well, I took the other part of it, which was the best story that wasn't on TV.
Yeah, I did that one too.
So my anyone who knows me knows how much I respect the sanctity of which the Thanksgiving meal is. So when Dominic pulled up to his dad's house to fight for the honor of the Thanksgiving meal, for the sole purpose that the Christmas tree was up before Thanksgiving was finished, by all means, turn Dominic into a babyface in this household. There is no such thing as Christmas until Black Friday. Black Friday is when you acquire your tree, and during that weekend is when you get the opportunity to raise it and decorate it. Anything before that turns you into a communist, and you can go fuck yourself. And if my father was to put his tree up before the Thanksgiving meal, I would have no problem knocking on his door with my mommy and beating the shit out of him too. So
for sure,
that was my behind the scenes story that wasn't on TV. That was absolutely the best thing that we could have had this year.
Yeah.
So thank you, Dominic Mysterio, for being amazing.
My best story that was not on TV was Dominic Mysterio getting arrested on Christmas Day and saying, "I won't make it in jail. Mommy, you got to bail me out."
That was
after sitting there hugging a
call priest, call Finn, call priest, call Finn,
call priest, call Finn. Get me out of here!
I won't make it in jail. So good, so good, because he won't. He's got a real pretty mouth.
Cheers, may he rest in peace and not in somebody's jailhouse bed.
Yeah. I don't know why, as a side note, when Rhea pinned Tozawa, I don't know why the camera didn't cut over to Dom. Because he should have had the look of familiarity on him.
Never change the camera once he does the pin. Never.
Nope. That's a good point. Yeah, you got to stay on it. That's a good point. The holy shit moment, biggest surprise of the year. Remember, this is the year we were talking about. 3 Logan Paul matches. Mickie James coming out to the Royal Rumble with somebody else's title. You had Carl Anderson defending a Japanese title while in WWE. You had the returns of Becky, Bayley, Io, Dakota. You had WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes. What was your biggest surprise of the year? I'm starting with Grim. What do you got?
With Grim? Oh my gosh, you don't want to start with me. Oh no. It is the emergence of Logan Paul. Over.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Marsh. Sorry if you're farting at me because I said what you said, but you said 19 things. So I got to pick, number 17, okay? So Logan Paul, his emergence, I mean, you talk about Pat McAfee and his matches, Bad Bunny and his matches. I mean, Logan Paul, I don't know who the talent scout is or who the person with the eye is that sees these celebrities or these athletic, superhumans, if you will, or these people that have athletic prowess to be able to, work a few matches a year, work a few matches to, impress the non-traditional wrestler, learning wrestling skills. So again, Bad Bunny, and then now Logan Paul this year. Pat McAfee is just a monster athlete. You look through the history of WWE, just, a lot of successes, some failures, but more recently, a lot of successes. So Logan Paul with his 3 matches this year, I mean, he was thrust into the main event with Roman Reigns and the world was going to burn and everything, and he delivered. He really did. Overall, I mean, it takes 2 to tango in that match with Roman. So overall, Logan Paul, kind of blew the doors off, being the surprise of the year, coming in from his first match to the third and really, excelling.
Absolutely. Digi, who do you got? What was your biggest, or not who even necessarily, could be a different moment. What was the biggest surprise of the year?
My biggest surprise is, I also watch TNA, the Good Brothers, they're gone. There's lots of speculation. You're seeing stuff in Japan with Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, they're doing their thing. And then you have AJ Styles cut the promo, and I'm like, oh, no, they didn't. And then they come out, and it goes into a brawl. They look strong, so the return of the Good Brothers, man, I'm here for it.
Bishop, what was your biggest surprise of the year? Your holy shit moment?
Sami Zayn getting hit with a big ass hand at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big old hand, man, right around the corner.
That thing came out of nowhere.
Losing by mousetrap.
Shocked the hell out of me.
Yeah.
No, seriously, and without trying to be cheeky, I just came up with that on the fly. Austin versus KO. The fact that it fucking happened, man, it shocked the shit out of me. I mean, the promo that Austin cut leading to that match was like, oh my God, no one can fucking do this. And then, of course, dirt sheets can go fuck themselves and everyone can speculate all they want, but it actually fucking happened. The one guy that could never, would never, fucking did. And we're talking about him doing it again because of how great it was. It was amazing and I loved it.
I even have a trading card. They do fantasy matches and they talk about on the back of it, like matches that could never happen, but we wish they did. And there's always the ones where it's like Brett and Edge. And I have one that's Stone Cold and Kevin Owens, and it goes, but alas, we'll never know, is how the description on the end is worded. And I was all like, fuck yes, dude, we know now. My holy shit moment, biggest surprise, is kind of a 2-parter, and it's going to be not a fan favorite by any means. But Vince McMahon, his retirement, his final match, him having a match against McAfee at Mania, him being stunned by Stone Cold at Mania, kind of culminating the end of their story, followed up not that long after. Him sitting with Pat McAfee for an hour and a half on a podcast. The stuff Vince was doing in 2022 was just holy shit moment after holy shit moment, and then culminates with his retirement. Obviously, all the investigation and negative stuff is a different type of holy shit, what's going on over there. But Vince and his on-screen stuff was all pretty holy shit. And when I think of what was the most surprising of all, that was the one thing that I don't think any of us would have guessed, even the beginning of the year, that he was stepping down. Even after Mania, no one thought he's retiring. You know what I mean? No one thought he was going to have a match at Mania. Like, it was all just a shock.
I think the interview itself was the biggest one. That's
huge.
That's the first time we've ever actually heard like Vince McMahon talk.
Mm-hmm.
Not character, chairman of the board, Mr. McMahon, none of that shit. That was Vince. And Vince just talked. And that never happens for like an hour and a half.
Yeah. Insane. Just insane.
Yeah.
And all stuff we'll never likely see again. Well, he's probably not doing another interview. He's probably not doing another match. He's not. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Let's see. Comeback of the year. I'll start it going. No, I won't, because I got a hell of a list here of things that I think are
We know
contenders.
who your comeback of the year is, Marsh. Just get going. Go ahead. Say it.
No way. Graham, you start. What do you got?
No. You know what? If you're going to let me go first, I'm going to take it.
You're just going to take it?
Listen. Take it. Okay?
For me, so I even put on here, I'm just like writing out lists of like, my God, these responses, right? Like Bray Wyatt came back, Cody Rhodes came back, Stone Cold came back, Vince came back. I think I got to go with just my feel-good moment. Bayley's return at SummerSlam was her first time in front of an audience since before pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, she not only carried them through pandemic, but then got injured right before she was able to even go out there and see the crowd. The closest she got was sort of hosting WrestleMania in a couple of weird spots to a fourth of the audience that would have been there otherwise. And she still got one of the biggest reactions of the night. So for her to be able to come out in front of so many people, bring her friends along for the ride, because honestly, Dakota and Io, I think there's a good chance they were not coming back for a while, if not then and there, because of her. So just a really cool feel-good moment there to be able to.
And how else to get them ready for the main roster than to be with Bayley?
Yeah, absolutely. Bishop, who's your comeback of the year?
I took it in the sports context. Who may have been on top that fell off that came back in a proper way, and it's Rhea Ripley. I think now she is in her peak form again. I mean, what she built from the Mae Young until she faced Charlotte at WrestleMania was, I used to call her pound for pound, age for age, gender for gender, the best wrestler in the world. This was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, she had that presence on TV. The shit she did in NXT with Raquel and Mercedes Martinez. Fucking amazing matches. 2 years ago. 2 years ago. We finally have her back. And what she's been building this year has been awesome. So I cannot wait for her solo to shine.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily need to break up Judgment Day, because I do think it's working. Imagine that. Was shit on 6 months ago. Let time to breathe. It's all kind of working. If she gets some type of solo run away from them with the ability to hold that title, this is the Rhea that we have that we deserve. I think she's my comeback person of the year for sure.
Isn't it remarkable that the missing ingredient to Judgment Day was Dom?
Yeah. Yes.
It fell apart when Edge left, and it didn't get back on track until Dom shows up.
Well, I mean, all that BDSM gear, BDSM doesn't work without a Dom.
Doesn't work.
Well, I was going to say, and then there's Dominique, because let's face it, we all know who's the man in that relationship.
Well, he is the Dom and the sub. He's the Dom as the glue and the sub in the relationship for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Digi, what do you got for comeback of the year? Grim has to go last now because he forfeited his opportunity to go first.
Yeah. Sheamus. Shamo. That guy was, he spent a lot of years on the bench. He comes back. He's leading the faction. He's going toe-to-toe with the Bloodline. He went toe-to-toe with Imperium. Like, talk about a guy who's really getting in there.
Yep. And he won the crowd back over, especially that Gunther Clash of the Castle match. I saw a lot of people talk about match of the year with that one. It may be on one of yours all's list. I don't know. But it's worth talking about when you're talking about match of the year, and the way that the crowd responded to him there carried over into America when everyone just said, "Oh yeah, we forgot." Grim, comeback of the year.
You know what? I'm going to hedge my bet.
Go with Vince.
I think the comeback of the year is going to be John Cena on Friday.
Yeah.
I truly believe the tag match between John Cena and KO versus Sami and Roman, it'll be the comeback of the year in terms of it's going to be a firework, a blast to start 2023 off with a bang, heading into the road to WrestleMania. I think Cena's on for a bunch of matches, maybe Rumble, or maybe he might be in the Rumble. go into WrestleMania. Like, I don't think this is a one-shot deal with Cena to keep the streak going for his match year, consecutive years. I think he's going to be with us through April to really nail home WrestleMania in Hollywood. So again, I'm putting my eggs in the John Cena basket then starting on Friday.
Yep. It's safe to put your eggs with Cena. Rookie of the year. I did Solo Sikoa. He's been coming out thumbing everybody. What? He's been coming out thumbing everybody, and I'm into it. Especially like you said, man, in NXT, he was just a badass jobber, man. He was like a jacked up Brooklyn brawler. Like, he came out and he just kept going like, please let him just have one victory, because he keeps talking like he's a winner, but he doesn't win things, right? And you have to, I think your character has to also coincide with what we're seeing. You can't be all talk and no action, right? So and every match he had, you believably thought he was going to do it. So to see him step into this role as the enforcer of the bloodline, to see everybody talking about him, is he going to be the one? Is he not the one? Is he going to be the one? We the ones? Who the ones? Bloodline? Uzi. Solo's really made a name for himself and his thumb. So I'm a big fan of that. Digi, what do you got?
Alba Fire, because she hasn't been around but for so long, but my God, is she hot. Doesn't matter what it is, any of that, she just goes.
Yeah, she's fire.
Yeah, literally. I mean, way to go for her.
Yeah. She's one we thought for a while was the right one to dethrone Mandy. So absolutely. Grim, who do you got rookie of the year?
I was teetering between, when I think rookies, I think NXT. I just do.
You're allowed to.
And you had a strong class in 2022 all the way through.
Chase U?
I think I'm going. Yeah, right. Chase U, right, exactly. I think that I think Rain is going to be the take up. The Rock's daughter is going to be a force to be reckoned with in 2023. I just like, even just the last couple of months, her being in the promos and the red contacts and all that. Yeah. I think like Schism is just a good group. It's you need that dark niche faction. Every promotion needs one. So that's just 2022, 2023's version of that is Schism. So I could see her just taking it to the next level in 23. There's a lot of potential there.
Absolutely, I agree. Bishop, who do you got rookie of the year?
I had two. NXT Roxanne. It's hard to even say she's a rookie, but she is, to us in the WWE context. But she's fucking awesome. And then what really sealed it for me is when she showed up on the main roster heading into War Games, or not War Games. What was it? The pay-per-view where they had to battle where they brought someone down from fucking from the main roster. She stood next to everyone and looked like a star. And the match she had on SmackDown, right? Against Bayley?
Yeah, it was against Damage Control. It was her, Shotzi, and Raquel against Damage Control.
Yeah, she looked amazing. Yeah. And to be fucking 22 years old, I mean, she's incredible. And the other one is Logan Paul.
And she also got Logan Paul.
That's amazing. Yeah. But go ahead. But Roxanne.
Yeah, and Roxanne, I mean, she got Breakout Star of the Year and NXT Championship all in one in her first year there. And I remember when she signed, a lot of people were, a lot of the IWC was real hesitant to think it was a good move for her because she was Ring of Honor Women's Champion at the time. And say a little more visibility on the NXT Women's Championship than the Ring of Honor right now. But
not just visibility. I mean, look at the care that she has in NXT. The way that she's treated in presentation. I mean, again, this is my time to shit on AEW and Tony Khan and everything he does. $1 billion is not $1 billion infrastructure. So what's designed within the WWE system is why there was no blip from Vince McMahon to Triple H. If Vince McMahon comes back, there's going to be no blip either. There's an infrastructure that makes this shit go. And the fact that, Roxanne can go into an NXT and be fed through that infrastructure, you see how she looks and why when she defeats a Mandy Rose on a fucking record-breaking streak, it looks credible.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's fantastic. Breakout performer of the year, a little bit different than rookie of the year. Mine, we had everybody's rookie, right?
If I may, and I apologize to our illustrious guests, I would love to do this again. I have to go work a live stream. So, Grim, Bishop, Marsh, thank you very much for, hanging out with me. I want to do this again sometime.
For sure. I'll pull up your list because you sent it to me before, so I'll let people know what you had to say.
There's a reason I prepared it.
All right, nice to meet you, brother. We'll see you again.
Pleasure's mine. Later, gentlemen.
Yep.
Look at him all down there by himself.
I'm just seeing where if we got his rookie. Oh yeah, Alba Fire. Yeah. Okay. Back on track. Yeah. So the breakout performer of the year I had for me, LA Knight, because we had him as Max Dupree on the main roster. We did not get to see the LA Knight that we knew LA Knight to be. He was restricted, to say the least, in his Max Dupree presentation. To see him go off on the way that he has been, doing the Bray Wyatt impression, getting the Yaz over the way he has, like, he is everything that I was hoping he would be, and he's just getting started. So I'm pretty excited about where he's going and what he's doing so far. With the weirdness of the story aside, I think he's showing the world why he belongs in a program with a top guy like Bray. Because at the end of the day, you're in a program with Bray Wyatt, you're very important. Look at who Bray Wyatt's usually in a program with. He's usually out there with Seth Rollins, Goldberg, Roman. You know what I mean? He doesn't. Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So LA Knight going in there against Bray and then holding his own. Breakout. Amazing. Because he hasn't faltered and hasn't wavered, and no one said, who's looking weak in this? You know what I mean?
You need some verbal skills too. Like, you need to be able to, I don't want to say match Bray on the mic because that's tough, but at least be able to hold water, especially depending on what role you're in. If you're like a victim that's just going to get Sister Abigail, okay, whatever. But if you're having a long program with him, backstage segments, getting, ambushed in the back, things like that, just, to have that back and forth, that mic back and forth.
Yeah.
You need to be able to hang with Bray and to be able to tell the story.
Yeah, Marsh and I, we talked about this back on episode 1. It was, you were very hesitant about what does this look like, because what the fuck does it look like? What could they even need to do together? And I believe it was me, because, usually I'm right. The fact that these are the two that could tell us the story. Whatever the story is going to be, these are the two. And I think that's kind of what gets lost in how fucked this whole thing is getting. That at the second they do need to rewrite, they do need to course correct, these two can tell us the story. That's why I think, Bray might be pushing it in a direction where he's 7 steps ahead of us and we're just not there, man. Like, come on, man. Yeah. Dial it back, bring us along with the ride, and maybe allow LA Knight to tell us more story. But I agree with you. I think I think LA Knight's doing a great job.
And there's every reason to believe that what Bray Wyatt did, much like Grim was calling it a Hollywood punt, is it also could just be a straight up holding pattern. Look, we're gonna have a dip here. Let's not do too much. Just kind of reiterate what you're doing, and we'll kind of put a little out there, So, yeah. So I got breakout performer. I'm gonna tell you Digi's, and then we're gonna move over to Bishop. Digi's breakout performer was Cody Rhodes, which is hysterical for a couple of reasons. But not only did the guy come back in stunning fashion, the fact he went 3 matches with Rollins, even being injured, but carried through with an outstanding performance, is a breakout to me. And it's hard to argue, no matter how bored you are with Cody, the fact that he did what he did, he made moments. There will never be video packages of Cody again without Hell in a Cell in that package.
Or the Return to Mania.
Or the Return of Mania.
Yep.
You can always look forward to a Cody package.
Yeah.
Always.
having those two things in it. That's
It's only
I
because
was
it's not
clearing-
big enough to look backwards. You know what I mean?
yeah. I was clearing my throat. That's the pause. Bishop,
To
breakout
the Cody-
performer of the year.
To the Cody point, and this was my reason for wanting to throw him away, is that without talking, he is breakout. He can elevate beyond what nonsensical story he's trying to tell on the microphone. He is wrestling royalty, but he actually can wrestle like that. So start there, and then tell us how good you are or where you should be. And that's what surprised me the most about his look on the WWE tubes of it. For me, Cora Jade and Grayson Waller were my breakout performers of the year. I think Cora Jade turning heel has given her a natural edge to who she is.
Yeah.
It's allowed her to be more comfortable on TV. And Grayson Waller refining his character into a cocky prick and not a mix of 7 different styles of character. We now see Grayson Waller.
Yeah.
And I think he's fucking owning it. So good on the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Grayson Waller's been so crazy. And also, if you remember, I think I mentioned it to you to listen to the After the Bell with Waller, or did I mention somebody else?
It might have been someone else, but I'll take a look.
You should, because I thought it was remarkable to find out as much as was present in the Grayson Waller story that we don't know. He's pretty old school, man. He comes across as like a new wave dude doing things like, I mean, even his athleticism is crazy and ingenuitive, and you go, and it's innovative. You go, oh, this guy's like a new style, right?
That fucking roll through double stunner at
It's his
Deadline. No, like, but he did it to 2 different people at the same time as it started. Like, it was the perfect timing to get 2 pins in 30 fucking seconds in the match. It was awesome.
Amazing. Turns out he's been wrestling for a long time, but he never wanted his character to be something as flat as I'm a big wrestling fan and have been a long time. It's worth listening to because he really like rails in on a lot of the stuff that I think a lot of people critique, you know, and get heat for when you say things all like, hey, there's too many marks in the ring and not out of the ring and all that stuff. The way he talks about it, the amount of respect I got for the guy from that one interview was just, I already liked the guy a lot, but now I'm all like, oh, this is the dude, man.
Nice.
Grim, what do you got? Breakout of the year. You can say Mandy's fan time.
No. So I'm gonna go with Dominic. That's a breakout. I mean, and what's more than breaking out than coming out from your dad's shadow? You know, for a year and a half, I was puppy dog, happy to be here. You know, I'm with dad, wrestling with dad, father, son, against Logan and The Miz at WrestleMania, blah, 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 blah. And now he went from daddy to mommy. And that's been the biggest transformation of character. Has more of an edge, Bishop, like you were saying earlier. I mean, just more of he was the missing ingredient. Go figure. With the gang, pulling it together with Finn, pulling it together with Priest, pulling it together with Rhea, or pulling apart with Rhea. I don't know what they're doing, but just having them all together as a foursome has been refreshing, at least to the back half of the year.
Yes,
I tell you too. This is where I'll do as wrestlers say, put over WWE. They take him away from Ray on TV, right? Like, he's not next to his dad, and he flourishes, right? Like, how protected was he with his dad, calling out the match for him? While they try to put him over to the opposite of my Cody argument, right? Cody can be great in the ring, then tells a story. Dominic's barely wrestling, and he's out there telling us a story. They're giving us character. They're giving us way more depth of who Dom is before he even steps foot in the ring, and we give a shit. He's the best heel on TV, period, across all companies because of the infrastructure that exists within WWE. They took the kid gloves off as opposed to being next to his daddy. Ray's off of TV now, and Dom is fucking bigger than he's been in the last 2.5 years. it's a great pull for breakout performer for sure.
Yeah. Easy one because, I mean, slam dunk. He gets the more authentic boost than almost anybody. The one more round, something we wanted to see more of that we didn't get enough of. This one was really tough for me because I felt like, not that a bunch of stuff has been seen all the way through, but I wanted to think of something that's just like almost feels like it's missing. And the only thing that really came to mind was Pat McAfee. He's somebody who definitely would like to see him come back because of what he provides to the show. You know what I mean? Grim, who'd you have for one more round? Something you want to see more of?
Real quick, going back on Pat McAfee. I mean, just remember, he just became the SmackDown commentator. He just became the SmackDown commentator. It was this year, right? Last year.
End of last year, right?
Yeah. Because he was in there during the pandemic for a hot minute.
Right. He did that.
Doing NXT stuff, though. That was doing NXT stuff.
Right. I'm just trying to.
It was the when he stepped away was after they announced all the new commentaries and his name came up, but I don't think they moved him. Right? He wasn't going to Raw.
No, Pat McAfee should be back after college football season anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm saying, when did he start? It was right after WrestleMania, right? When Pat McAfee started, and I forget.
WrestleMania of 21.
It was 21. Okay, good. Yeah. All right. So over the last year, and I can you believe who came in before Jimmy Smith on Raw, and he only lasted a month? Advan Kirk.
Oh yeah, Adnan Burke. Yeah.
Adnan Burke. There you go. See that? Okay. So all right. So can you believe that much time has passed now? Pat McAfee on commentary. He'll probably be back for Rumble and Mania season. It'll be 2 years he's been in commentary. 3+ years he's been in the WWE universe, NXT, whatever you want to say. So just I'm with you on Marsh. Just the impact of Pat McAfee has been tremendous.
Yep. Bishop.
What are we doing again?
The one more round.
One more round. Okay. Last year I said Nikki ASH as champion. We could have used that one, and hopefully that's happening.
Yeah.
I put the women's tag titles. I think even though they're on Damage Control, they stopped telling stories. I need the women's tag titles to have stories. I think that Damage Control, because even Bayley tried doing it. She's trying to tell the story without being involved, but they do it as either individuals or with the point of turning into the trio. Yep. So they're always building towards the three of them, but they have the tag titles. Or doing some individual stuff. So I would love to see the women's tag titles really, really solidify the scene. And if in 2023 it doesn't happen, then I'm with Justin. Just fucking merging with the NXT ones and get rid of them.
Yeah, I do think that it would make them look like better champions if there were teams that wanted them. And
they've always served a great purpose. Every time they've mattered, it's been awesome. But when they don't matter, they're like, well, what the fuck are we doing?
Yep. Let's see. Digi's one more round was cohesive storyline and acknowledgement of other companies. So he will bail out before this IWC shit.
As Nakamura gets off a plane in Japan.
Yes. He's
to fight the Great Muta.
Yeah. He goes, this is absolutely because of Vince's booking and for most of the year and even well before it just wasn't there, which is also just, there's so much you could undermine this with. He goes, under new creative, I look forward to seeing just how much the change will respect the fans. After all, we're not stupid. It's a tough way to punctuate that, if I'm being honest.
We're not stupid. Good.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
It's a fair take, but it's also selective,
Yeah. Yeah, it's
more selective than anything.
Yeah, it's just messy in that regard of
I think it's more because AEW goes out of their way to incorporate it into what they do, as opposed to, did you guys not hear that they just announced all of Mickie James's outside accolades as she's entering the Rumble? Like,
Yeah.
Let's see. Vince,
Yeah, that was a Vince thing. Let's see the This Is Awesome moment of the year. Let's see, what was mine? Oh, I mean, we talked about this earlier too. Stone Cold versus KO. I don't know what else you need to say about that other than this moment was just outrageously good. Bishop, what was your "This Is Awesome" moment of the year?
So, I was watching something earlier, so I added this second part to it. The women's treatment in Saudi.
Yeah.
All the matches they had. Marsh, me and you talked about the refereeing there. Had Jessica Carr and Aja Smith were both there, looking awesome, doing phenomenal work, really being allowed to shine and showcase the way the outfits are now and everything. I thought their treatment as wrestlers, and they had like 7 fucking matches on one card in Saudi. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But before I wanted to make it officially what that was, I asked my son, I said, Bud, when I go do this podcast, what was the most awesome moment of the year? And he's eating a cookie. He goes, Dad, see this cookie? Just pretend it's the earth. He goes, he's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. When that the second Bray's voice hit the fucking speakers in that, the craziest thing I'll ever experience in my life. Yeah, he's got it. That's all it took. He's got that, and the fucking place goes absolutely bananas. My arm hair is raising up now. This is awesome moment of all time is Bray Wyatt's return at Extreme Rules.
Yep. Graham.
Yeah, that's exactly. That was my only actually my second live event this year, and just we'll never be a part. That just that first moment, and especially because it was so funny because the main event was was Matt Riddle versus Rollins in that fight pit match. And it was so funny. Just everyone's like, oh my gosh, because it was all culminating that Bray was going to be there. And it just kept going to the end, to the point where Riddle wins the match by submission. And then literally play music. And they both start getting out of the fight pit. And then it goes dark and everyone just starts going nuts, right? Now, yes, I know on TV they did the banner WWE 2022 like they were going to sign off. And then Bray came out. But for people in the arena, it was, when is he coming? Come on. When is it happening? And then everyone just exploded.
Yeah, absolutely. And Digi put his moment of the year was the Bray Wyatt return. He goes, it wasn't just the fact he was back in WWE, it was the cryptic messages, QR codes, the entrance. He goes, he got chills. And I'm like, the only reason it didn't end up on my list is because it was on my list so many times at one point. Yeah. And I had to remember all the things that were in this whole year. And I was all like, what is the single greatest thing? I think Stone Cold versus KO is something I'm going to talk to about with a lot of people. Not that I wouldn't with Bray as well, but like Bray Wyatt's return, I got text messages from it, like, hey, did you see that? Were you watching? Right. But I mean, there was moments on my list where Bray's return was in the This Is Awesome, where he was in rookie or comeback of the year. He was the holy shit moment, the behind the scenes moment with the QR codes. Like he was just on my shit so much. At a certain point, it's all like, there's a lot that happened this year.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I won't disregard that was fucking crazy and incredible and so good. So being there makes a big impact on my choice here for sure. My favorite Rumble of all time is 2019 because I was second row.
Right.
I experienced it different than any other Royal Rumble.
Right.
Right. And that's not to discount that Rumble or this moment. It's just that there's an elevation there that is you're never
also to your point, I did have them rotating between This Is Awesome and Holy Shit moment was Austin, KO, and Bray. It's the same. I mean, even my son's 8, and when we were there and everyone's chanting Holy Shit, I was like, no, dude, say it. You need to say that. You need to be a part of this. Holy shit. Holy shit. Yep. You need to be a part of this. I want you to say it, Yeah. So it's the two greatest moments for me this year were those for sure.
I was at a Elimination Chamber when Bray won, and I'm trying to remember the moment in that pay-per-view, but there was a moment where Holy Shit started going, and I was there with Kevlar and his stepson, and he was there, and we're all like, holy shit. And he was just sitting there, he's like, holy, and like we're both going like, dude, say it. This is your time to
Okay.
shine.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, do it. And like he wouldn't do it. But it was funny. Because we were like right in it. But let's see. The match of the year. I'll start with Digi. He had Becky and Bianca, Raw Women's Championship match, WrestleMania 38, night 1. Another one where Bianca wins, and you go, this is massive.
Yeah.
And then you go, what was the next match after that? This match told and sold a story. The crowd really was into it, and the near falls and change ups. I couldn't glow enough about this match. I think the only one that rivals that match is their SummerSlam match, if I'm being honest. But
the 26 seconds.
I mean, that was a good match. But the Nashville.
Yeah.
Grim, what was your match of the year?
Speaking of SummerSlam,
Johnny Knoxville?
I got to tell you something. Roman and Lesnar was just everything that it needed to be. I like their matches. I like with Roman in this current role. I love their matches because think about it. Early Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar matches, at 31 and 33, and just because Roman had this challenge of character versus the crowd and the fans and everything, versus now where he has come into his own in this role as the head of the table and everything like that. So I just truly believe that this SummerSlam match was just unreal, especially with Brock Lesnar lifting the ring with the tractor and everything like that. Like just an unreal spectacle. Yes, a last man standing match generally will give you that. You had all the pomp and circumstance and everything, and then Roman coming out with the dub by just throwing everything on like the tables, the chairs, the ladder, whatever the heck they had, and all this. So just a spectacle of a match between the two of them, and that was a nice cherry on top to SummerSlam, to end that part of their rivalry.
For sure, dude. And that's another one that's going to be in all the packages moving forward. Like, how many times have we replayed just moments from that Roman and Brock match? And how many times people talk about how that was the greatest Roman and Brock match they ever had after saying they never wanted to see another Roman and Brock match over and over again. Every single match, people said, I never want to see another one. And every single time they'd go, that was the best one.
Ever since Saudi. Yep. That Saudi match where, Roman's feet hit first. And anytime they touched after that, they really just built it up.
Yep.
And I agree. I had it on my list.
I mean, you could have finished your sentence. I was letting you know you're also doing match of the year next. So then you can finish your sentence. There's no problem. Jesus, man. I wasn't cutting you off.
No, because I'm just restarting my sentence.
Go ahead.
No, I had Roman Brock as well, but then I changed it for the same reason that I had this match. Is leading into it, people are like, this isn't going to be anything. We've seen it. What could this possibly be? And then all of a sudden, it's fucking epic. It's amazing. It pulled on you. You didn't know what was going to happen. And then a lot of people, some people were let down by the Bloodlines interference. And I think it really just gave Brock what he deserved when it came to Roman.
Yeah.
And everything just Roman and Brock that they did the entire way of it was just a testament to who they are as performers. But the reason why this match superseding fans' expectations with all the shit talk beforehand is why I give my match of the year to Roman Reigns and Logan Paul.
Yeah.
The second that match was announced, it's his third fucking match ever. How can he be going for the title? Why isn't this guy there? Why isn't that guy there? Why isn't this guy there?
Yeah,
instead of looking at the reasons.
Wrong.
Exactly. Oh, this what? And then, of course, I was telling every fucking IWC asshole, I mean, you think Vince McMahon's booking this shit? This is your Triple H savior of the WWE booking the biggest spectacle match he can. He's allowing a third ever match to a performer who's not a wrestler wrestle for the title on a Saudi show because they want to sell the show. Are you fucking kidding me? That's the biggest Vince McMahon booking of all time.
Yep.
And I said, I believe it was on episode 1, that this match will deliver. Roman Reigns will allow Logan Paul every opportunity possible to make him look good. There's going to be a point in the match where you go, wait, is Logan Paul actually going to fucking win this? And then you will see why Roman Reigns is the best fucking wrestler on the planet, bar none. The match was fucking incredible. There will be never any video package of this Tribal Chief run will have multiple moments from that match.
Yep.
It was one of Roman's best wrestled matches the entire fucking year, period. And the way they built it was perfect. And as Marsh, me and you talked about, it was as much for Logan Paul, but more for the WWE to have the millions and millions of Logan Paul's viewership that doesn't tune into WWE to now tune into WWE. It now puts Roman in the same social circles as a Floyd Mayweather because this is who Logan Paul has faced.
Yeah.
It's bigger than that. We're fucking idiots on the internet talking about wrestling. What the fuck do we know? Watch the match and guess what happened? You'll be fucking entertained. The match was fucking incredible. I knew it was going to be because Bishop was right, as always. So, my match of the year, I think as much as I love women's wrestling, and we had some really good women's wrestling matches, including Bayley Bianca at whichever Saudi show that was, I'm going with Logan Paul Roman.
Yep. I mean, there were so many amazing matches this year, and I thought Gunther and Sheamus was so good. It's hard to ignore it, and I didn't want to not mention it at all. And to be honest, Becky Bayley on Raw was one of the best women's matches we've seen on Raw this whole year. You know what I mean? Like, just to put that out there. But for me, I decided to do a much like Grimm, hedge my bets on this one. Match of the year, no doubt, Roman and Sami versus KO and Cena. It's going to be the match everyone's going to talk about all year round, and no one's going to give it an award but us at the Boozies because we're ahead of our time. Literally too early.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Well, I'm on the East Coast, so you're behind my time, but it's cool.
So you're still ahead of your time. Literally ahead.
I'm ahead of you.
Yeah. Let's see. Female superstar of the year. I'll start with Grimm on that one. Grimm, what do you got? Who's your female superstar of the year?
Female superstar of the year. Looking at it, you know, her dominance all throughout the year. I'm going to go with Bianca. Bianca Belair is, as you know, the chase to winning the title at Mania. And then just, you know, working through her opponents. You know, I'm looking at her matches right now and just, you know, you just look at her, here, give me one second here.
Bianca's matches.
I mean, she essentially, you know, she carried like her. Oh, so I got a couple things to bring up with Bianca. Not only what she did with Bayley, like her matches at Crown Jewel, and then also, you know, working against pretty much Damage Control since SummerSlam, and even her rematch with Becky at SummerSlam. You know, Becky kind of passing the torch to her, saying that, you know, because then Becky was written off then for a couple of months after that attack after SummerSlam. But, you know, Becky and Bianca had this moment at SummerSlam to be like, all right, you know, we're cool, you know, just, you know, hey, you take the title from here kind of thing. And, but yeah, so Bianca, at least, you know, not only won the title at Mania, but then elevated up to SummerSlam with Becky. And then I know she is kind of coasting out. And from my take earlier on in the show here, that I want Bianca to move out of the title picture going into 2023 to benefit someone else coming into the picture, essentially. But yes, for 2022 right now, Bianca was the female superstar of the year.
It's a good argument. Heavy argument. Bishop, who'd you have for female of the year?
Again, without being cheeky, I'm just going to go Liv Morgan. Mm-hmm. I think her rise to the title was something that was well deserved from a fan ownership perspective. She really took us along the ride with her. We really wanted to see her win, Live in the Bank, all that stuff. She really, really took us for a ride. Yeah, but then I was listening. I was listening to Grimm, and I just go, it's Becky. Becky's the reason that the women's division makes sense.
Yeah.
So I just go Becky.
And it was different when Becky was gone versus when she came back. I mean, you could feel it, you could see it, right? So last year we did Bianca, and I think because of the reasons I gave it to Bianca last year is the reason why I have to give it to Liv this year. I felt like Bianca this year put her foot in the sand and said, no, I've earned my spot on top, and this is where I belong, and this is why I stay here. But the reason she got it last year was it was her rise to that prominence. It's very difficult to stay on top once you get there. Everyone has a rise up. And it's a matter of how long they can stay up before sliding off, right? I mean, Stone Cold always talked about Undertaker's finding a way to ride the edge of a lightning bolt for 20-something years, because a lot of people feel that way about everything. They ride this lightning bolt as far as it'll take them. And a lot of people, it's 1 year. A lot of people, it's 2 years. You know, Liv's rise to that prominent position where she'd always had the fans behind her, and she'd always been really underdog. She finally gets Money in the Bank. She cashes in. She's going the extreme gimmick thing. All of it's working in a way where this coming year is going to be her time to say, no, this is where I belong and why. But this past year is what set her stage to be able to say that she has a spot on top to fight for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, positionally, it just doesn't feel important. I tell you this though, the title doesn't seem wasted, which is a good thing, because currently that's kind of happening with Ronda. The title kind of feels wasted on Ronda. So I do feel you on the positioning standpoint. I guess I'm just not overly captivated by her, but I mean, I gave her Rookie of the Year last year, and I thought maybe she'd be Superstar of the Year this year, but she just doesn't blow me away, man.
Everything she's doing, I think, is also getting better and crisper. Digi agreed with the Liv Morgan, said this lady has worked her proverbial ass off, even getting rewarded with the title defenses from top women and holding her own. True, she had 2 wins over Ronda. Not any other woman can say that. He goes, now with a more extreme gimmick, I feel like Revolution speaks volumes as to her as a superstar. I think this coming year is going to be like a defining year for Liv to prove that she's not a fluke, not a flash in the pan, right? But I think this year was her rise to that positioning. But I think at the same time, it's really hard not to say Becky or Bianca. And I think realistically, it's hard not to even say Bayley. Bayley's been cranking out great matches and elevating all the women around her at the detriment to herself.
Yeah, that's the bigger one, is that they're really looking important around her, for sure.
Yep. And my only fear for Bayley is if she's not careful, she's going to end up, with all due respect, there's nothing but respect for this woman, but the only issue she's going to have is if she doesn't look out for herself, she's going to probably be viewed somewhat like Natty.
Yeah.
A foundation, a gatekeeper in a sense, will never fail you, but
match glue,
always important to be in there, but never important to be on top. Which is kind of where Natty is. I think that Natty is amazing, one of the best women wrestlers in the history of time. When she comes out, people go, oh, she's going to make this other person look good. Oh, she's helping this other person. No one feels like she's coming out to get her shot at the title. But when she is put in the title position, people go, well, I mean, it is Natty and she's very good.
That's why we both thought that her tag title run was really going to be her crowning achievement. Like, run that shit for a year and a half, because this gives her the opportunity to be glue and make everything around her important.
Yes. Male superstar of the year. I'll go Bishop. What do you think on this one? And then we'll go Grimm right after that.
Gunther. Gunther's my male superstar of the year. I think he hasn't let us down whatsoever during his body transformation. There was a lot of complaints from the outside, but the guy's working his fucking ass off to give us something worth rooting for, worth rooting against. Anytime he's now, and Marsh and I, we talked about this on, I can't remember. I think it was episode 1, that when he's now losing to these smaller guys, like wrestling like against a Ricochet or something like that, he's now getting broken down in ways where it's not a kick to the chest, flat back bump. He's not getting an enziguri, flat back bump. No, he's actually breaking down when he sells. And he's putting himself in that top 5 level of making sure his opponents inflict damage on him through his selling without looking like a fucking circus animal. Like he's going through match quality selling. He's fucking amazing. Gunther is outstanding. He's my male wrestler of the year.
Yeah, he's had no bad matches.
Ever.
Just flat out. Grim, who's your male superstar of the year?
Man, I tell you, this is going to be the cookie cutter take of all takes. It's going to be just like any other wrestling show, any other wrestling pod. You have to say it to be legitimate. Roman Reigns is the male superstar of the year. Maybe I could have saved him for superstar of the year, but maybe more of an argument later. Just dominant. 2022, it was, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you with who I am. 2021, there was chicanery, a low blow here or there, interference here or there. Like, it was a little more prominent. I understand Solo interfered at Clash of the Castle, but overall, what was it? Actually, even 2021, where the last man standing match where he was stuck with the handcuffs and all that stuff, like just all the chicanery in 21. 22, it was, I'm just going to smash you in the mouth and beat you. A couple, maybe a trick here or there, but it was just dominance. Just every match he was in, the fact that he went over on Drew in Drew's hometown is huge. Everyone's like, oh, that could have been the moment right there. But no, like Roman is the moment. Like he is the he keeps everything moving, everything in motion, everything revolves around him and the bloodline at this point. So 2022 is the year of Roman for sure.
Yeah, and it's difficult. We had Roman last year as well, and I had to leave him as my male of the year this year as well, because I just think that it's just hard to argue anyone is on a different level than Roman or on a higher level than Roman in any aspect, in any regard. Like, and though even that, like you said, the Drew's loss to Clash of the Castle was kind of a you're welcome to Drew by allowing him to have that match in his hometown. You could have lost anywhere. We let you lose in front of your people. You know what I mean? And if anyone thought Drew was ever going to win, regardless of his hometown, Roman said it before. Drew McIntyre, you're my favorite number 2.
I think to your point, Grim, that what I was thinking when you kept mentioning the interferences and things like that, besides the Brock match, I think in years past, it's been about inflicting damage on who Roman's going to beat or cheating on purpose. The timing of Solo interfering, the timing of the Usos getting involved has been more about, let's get this fucking thing over because we have bloodline shit to do. Like, the wrestling is now getting in the way of how important the bloodline is.
Okay.
And I find that to be great story.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Digi from male superstar of the year. He said Sami Zayn. Must be a typo because it should say Sami Uso. He said this guy is taking everything. Oh, hold on a second while I read this. Here we go. This guy's taking every change to be loved and okay. It's got to be Chance. This guy's not as bad as Splinter Fox, but I'll be honest. This guy's taking every chance to be loved and hated. Maybe change. Taking every change to be loved and hated. No matter the situation, he has thrived, even having the skill to be a great performer. His work with the bloodline has been so over that even audiences of the other companies work his champs on live TV. That alone speaks for itself.
Oh, yeah, they were chanting Uzi in AEW, right?
Were they? Did they chant Uzi in AEW?
I think they did.
To who?
Just in the crowd.
To who was out there? There's no Samoans.
I don't fucking know. I don't watch it. Just heard.
Oh, Grim, can you?
Whispers.
For what thing?
Joe's not that Samoan. He's not Anoa'i.
Not that Samoan. He's
No,
pretty
yeah.
Samoan. His name's Samoa Joe.
Not that Samoan, just not that Samoan. You know what I mean? Not like that Samoan. Like he's very Samoan, but he's not that family.
Right, he's not in Hawaii. Yeah, he's
No one's
just
ever said Joe
He's
is
just a
Uso.
Joe that happens to be Samoan.
He's a Joe that happens to be Samoan, but he's not on Hawaii. He's not part of the bloodline. That's why he's not there, dude. He got booted, tooted and booted, tooted and booted.
Great.
Don't you remember that whole storyline with Roman and Samoa Joe? Or no, Brock.
Yeah.
It was Brock and Joe, and Paul Heyman said you're the only Samoan that the family won't recognize. Like, fuck. So dope, dude.
Great balls of fire, indeed.
Yes. Yes. Bring back Great Balls of Fire. Drop Money in the Bank. Put in Great Balls of Fire. Hang 2 balls from the roof.
Excuse me, Mrs. Balls from the roof.
Mrs. Well, they have to be able to be. Miz has tiny little balls. You could never see them if you hung him.
He has
So
the
you'd need,
biggest balls.
He does.
You can hang balls up there. Miz wins every year. like MJF in the ring. What a mistake that was for Tony to do the $1 million ring and then realize that he wrote it so heavily into the one character that no one else can win it, but he's obligated to do the Battle Royal every year. So he's like, well, fuck, now what? Because he couldn't even put him in there.
Right. Right.
And then you have someone win the Rumble to have the chance to face him for like, fuck, man, like you
Booker
fucked
of the
that
year,
one
man.
up. All right. We're here. We're at the top. Superstar of the year. We made it. We here. We the ones. I'm gonna go with Bishop. Scrim's been real snotty here. He's been giving me a lot of He's been giving me a lot of Charlotte propaganda.
Wait till 2023. You'll see some Charlotte propaganda.
Fuck.
Bishop, who's your superstar of the year? You know what? I'm gonna start with Digi. Because you guys won't believe this shit.
On your show, I'll believe anything. So go ahead.
You put Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker. He goes, this man is head and shoulders above what anyone expected. He's taken NXT on his back and is the man who makes the title. Not anyone can hold a brand and be a true representative, but he is just that on NXT. And I'll give you that that's probably mostly true. Except you guys remember his last 2 NXT title defenses? Could you name who he fought?
Yes.
No.
Grim, who's the last person? He's typing. Grim's typing. I see it right now. He's trying to Google it. He's typing it. He doesn't even know the last 2.
No, we're okay. No, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Joe Gacy.
Yeah.
Gacy
It was JD McDonough
Joe
and
Gacy.
Threat, and he did Apollo Crews. But those matches were non-remarkable.
Apollo
People weren't
Crews.
talking about them.
Yeah, Apollo
You know what I
Crews was
mean?
at
And it's
Deadline,
also
which was
fine.
awesome.
And they weren't bad matches. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I don't know if he's the
starting to
face
get
right
there.
now necessarily. It's getting to that point where what are we doing? So I do think that he needs a big shakeup next year. And I think that shakeup should just be fucking move him on. Get him out of there. I think he's done everything for NXT he's going to be able to do for NXT.
Yeah.
I think you move on.
He's been my vote, my sticky note on my laptop for him to beat Roman at WrestleMania 40 for the undisputed title. That's where I see Braun Breaker going.
I'll take it.
It would be a statement, and I don't think that's a bad call.
But then also that goes with the call that Roman's going to still hold on to at least one the Universal title all of 2023.
That's fine.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Yeah.
Keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Fucking A. He needs, like I said, he needs a bigger push, man.
He needs a bigger push.
He needs a bigger push.
Bishop, who do you got superstar of the year?
Seth Rollins. Everything he touches makes sense. Everything he does helps. Every match he's in is awesome. And he never loses steam after losing. And he always looks ready for Roman when he wins.
Yes.
So I think his ability to step in there, give credibility to everyone and all that. I think he got that talent from his wife to make everyone around them look incredible. Because there was something missing from Seth.
Yeah.
And he really knocked it out of the park this year. So I think he was close on my list the year before, but he definitely nailed it this year. And he's probably going to be pretty fucking close to Superstar of the Year next year too.
Yeah. And I do think in not a negative way, I do think that Seth and Becky being together, their minds being around each other as much as they are now, I think has been the missing piece for both of them.
1,000%. 1,000%.
I think that Becky elevated herself after having a lot of conversations with Seth. And that's just assumption because they're married. I assume they're having a lot of conversations. And they both are so obsessed with wrestling. I assume that they would be talking about wrestling an awful lot. The things that were good enough for Becky are now perfection. The things that Seth were missing are now completely together. He's walking that razor's edge of, when I lose, does it harm me? Is my name credible enough? Or how do I, like you said, be always ready for Roman, but still be able to teeter that line enough to be able to give a little something to somebody else? Can I elevate somebody a little bit more without dropping too much of my own stock? And he walks that line perfectly. And I think that's something that Becky always did well.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Grimm's favorite wrestler, who he wants to come back next year, is that she was always put in that spot because she has a name and numbers behind them. But why do we care besides the name and numbers? But you have a catalog of raising a division like Becky Lynch, where the second she just lost to Bayley, right? Okay. Yeah. What happens? What if she steps foot in front of Ronda tomorrow? You ready? Yeah. Why? Yeah. Why are you ready? Because it means something, because of who Becky is and what she's done. And that essence is what, what Seth was missing. Yes. He can out wrestle anyone. He can be a snarky heel no matter what. But the presence, the ownership of it. It's why his title. He beat Brock twice, and it didn't matter either time.
Yeah.
Like, how do you beat Brock twice and it doesn't fucking matter?
Yeah.
And Becky, she can win, lose, or draw, and she's always going to feel important. And that swagger, ironically enough, seems like it translated through the conversations with Seth. And now the ability to, because neither one of them have to talk, and they can talk.
Yes. Yep.
I
think that they impress each other.
They're both Superstar of the Year. Fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? I think that they impress each other enough that as each other are talking to other people, they're listening and going like, oh shit, I could take that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a really good way to be in general. And I think that I agree that I think their relationship has strengthened both of their abilities to do what they do on a much higher level. When you even thought that they were probably at the highest level you could be at, they get together and you go, oh wait, we have Ultron mind now. So, Grim, Superstar of the Year. Better make it good. If you say Drew McIntyre, dude, I will cut your feed. I will fucking cut your feed.
Oh my God, Marsh. Well, listen, this is the Superstar of the Year award. Okay, there's going to be no jokes with this. Okay, no jokes at all. So I won't go Drew McIntyre. However, you know what? I've piggybacked a couple times tonight. I got to go with Bishop on Seth Rollins. In addition to that, to Bishop's take, look at the lexicon of opponents he's had and the impacts he's had throughout this year. Starting with Big E, when Big E was the champ. You have his match against Roman at the Royal Rumble, kicking off Roman's 2022. The trilogy of matches with Cody. I mean, just the matches were all great. Even the moment at WrestleMania, all the way to Hell in a Cell, just awesome. His feud with Riddle during the late summer and the fall, and now, looking at his match listing here, he's been wrestling Theory almost every night. Him for the U.S. title, essentially live events and live TV tapings and all that. So he'll probably head into that with Theory, maybe into the Rumble or something for the title, for U.S. title. Seth Rollins was the workhorse this year. He was the glue to a lot of major storylines throughout this year. And as you guys were saying earlier, he could sprinkle in with this, like just coming out and, being the foil to a segment, or being in the back, or, with the sunglasses inside and all that stuff, just ooze through the camera. essentially all year, but especially just all the linchpin matches he had throughout this entire year to tell the story of 2022.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a big part of a lot of big stuff. So, and I don't think there's a question why, and I don't think that there's a better who than we want Cody Rhodes to come in and have something incredibly meaningful that's going to go off without a hitch, that has to be perfectly done. Well, that's Seth Rollins. Like, we don't,
Right.
There's not a conversation to be had. You know what I mean?
Right. Because Rollins did that so beautifully with Edge in 21 with their trilogy of matches.
Yes.
Yep.
Rollins kind of walked hand in hand with Edge to get him back back into the fold and everything. So why not do it with Cody in 22? And who knows who 2023 is?
Yep. And shout out to back when we talked on episode 1 after Mania. The thing that people don't give Seth enough credit for was carrying a storyline one-sided for months. His WrestleMania storyline was one-sided. And if you watch TV and didn't read any newsletters, it couldn't have been more one-sided at all. No one was like, unless you were reading the newsletters and being like, oh, is he hinting at Cody or looking for things for him to do there? At the end of the day, what we were provided with was no context from anyone else, and him having to carry a story that took him to WrestleMania against nobody that would be the perfect placemat for Cody to arrive.
Yep.
And he did that. Who can run a story by themselves? The only other person that comes to mind, KO.
Yep.
Because he did it as well. But
he did it right until Austin cut the promo. It was perfect. Yep.
Graham, did you have another person on mind you were thinking?
I was gonna say too, Sami Zayn, the Johnny Knoxville story when Johnny wasn't there, like the Royal Rumble spot, when Knoxville was in the Rumble, Sami got involved with that, and then carrying it all the way through to WrestleMania. Sure, Johnny had a big net here or there, but he kept it going as well.
Yeah, but I would say the big difference is Johnny was involved throughout it at points where Cody was never involved. No peep, no anything. And that's just levels of impression.
But it was definitely, to Grimm's point, though, being able to help someone inexperienced translate to this entertainment medium. That's a lot of heavy lifting for Sami in that point. I mean, we don't need to talk you into appreciating Sami Zayn, but I do think Sami's heavy lifting with Knoxville to help Knoxville translate to the audience in a wrestling capacity is something to be applauded.
It is poetry for sure. I mean, you even think about the match that they had in WrestleMania when people break down the match and like, oh, this was like peak sports entertainment, or this was everything wrong with wrestling and all that shit. And you just have this back and forth. And to listen to Sami Zayn break down that match in a way that's all like, no, this was as pro wrestling as it gets. This was a pro wrestling match that has the parts that you get in every classic pro wrestling match, including the listening to the audience for the next step. These moves were wildly ridiculous because much like the old, what was that arcade game? Was it WrestleMania Arcade where like Doink would just get a big old hammer and thwing, Bret Hart would get hurt and hearts would fall out of him. Razor would do something and his arm became a razor blade. Like just the way that they were trying to make cartoons the action of what this person normally wrestles. Johnny, not being a wrestler, the only moves he has in his repertoire is levels of prank that are painful, and levels of pranks he's done before and knows they're painful. He's either experienced it or done it to somebody he knows. Like,
and how do you work that into a wrestling match? Yeah, and that's
yeah. And
but
Sami
that's the thing.
The whole thing.
You're right, and that's and I was just listening to Sami Zayn on Cheap Heat. He did an awesome interview at Rosenberg, kind of laying out his mindset behind his involvement in the Bloodline. And one of the things he said that stuck out to me is that he doesn't like to look back. And I was like, "Fuck, man," because that Knoxville build, the way the match went down, that's Sami dancing with mannequins. You know what I'm saying? Like that motherfucker, he did every step. Hey, just be right there. I got you. The wee man body slam, like that's 100% Sami Zayn. It was a work of art, and I love the fact that it got the props it did because it was amazing.
Oh yeah.
But,
And for that, amongst other reasons, is why my superstar of the year is Sami Zayn. Sami Uso, my dog, the honorary Us, who this year went from the level they were at to the level he's at, who excelled in such a way that he went from where he was to where he is, who has a similar trajectory of a single year. I'd be hard pressed to find anybody. A lot of people elevated themselves, but when we walked into 2022, he was kind of lost. I mean, he was doing the conspiracy theory thing that was kind of falling off. They kind of weren't talking about it anymore. How do you get to the next thing?
It never really paid off either.
Never quite paid off. Apparently,
That's a good point.
There's no footage.
Yep. There's still time. To being where he is now, which is like the main player in the hottest story in the most important championship that we've had in the modern era. And he's the one that everyone's talking about and chanting for. And he's the focus in a segment that has arguably the greatest tag team in the history of time, with the longest title reign that any tag team's ever had. Roman Reigns, the face of the company and the longest title reign since Bruno Sammartino. Paul Heyman, Hall of Fame talker, if nothing else. And a mind as crazy as anyone's ever had in the business, who's done everything he's done. And somehow the focus is on Sami. You know what I mean? Sami Zayn? Who'd he ever beat, right? Is what they say? How many championships has he had?
Who'd you beat?
Yeah. What records has he broken? He's in there and everyone's going, Sami, that's our guy. In a ring full of the greatest talkers in the company. Like, that's almost the problem with Bloodline is you've got like 4 of the best talkers and you've put them all in one segment. Then you add Sami Zayn and now you got 5 of the best talkers and you just put them in one segment, which is one of the reasons why I think they spread them out throughout the show at this point. But yeah, who's gone from the level that Sami was at to the level that he's at now? And now people still want more. And he still does all his charity stuff. You know, producer lady's staring at me.
Last year we were talking about his ladder match being one of the best matches.
Yeah.
Party, so.
The ladder match he had at Clash of the Champions with AJ and Jeff Hardy was my match of the year that year.
Oh, good.
Same. It's the greatest ladder match of all time.
My favorite, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was perfect. It was
Within
absolutely
the last
perfect.
10 years, I would say. 10, 15.
Okay. Put any other match side by side. I think it's the triple threat that really does it. That really solidifies it. Yeah. Because there's definitely, I'm a big fan of Triple H and Rock at SummerSlam. A fantastic ladder match. But no, I just, the drama, the flawless execution, the way they work together, the fucking incredible match.
Yeah. It's amazing.
His earlobe to the ladder. Right?
Yeah. How do we get, and you even said best in 10 years. How do you have a decade of matches and then you get to this one
it's insane,
and you're still seeing shit you've never seen?
Yeah.
It's still coming off in a way you never would imagine. Sure. Those 3 in a ladder match on paper was the most perfect 3 to put in a ladder match. If you were going to make it a fatal 4, Kevin Owens got to be the 4th. Right? And so it just absolutely delivered. And I think Sami Zayn delivers every time he goes out there. For Christmas this year, I was given a screenshot of the order confirmation of the My Dog t-shirt. So I'm getting my Sammy for Serious shirt.
Hey-o.
The only Sammy for Serious shirt I don't have was the Generico Danhausen mix. Wasn't
Generahausen?
Yeah.
Danica. Speaking of screenshots for Christmas.
Yeah, what'd you get?
I got the family screenshots of tickets to a WWE house show that we're going to tomorrow in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I will be attending WWE live event tomorrow.
Yeah, chocolate capital of the world.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah, that's going to be really good. Do you know who's on the card yet?
I don't, and I'm a little nervous because they ran a second house show when the MSG show happened, and the second one had a lot of fluff, especially Gargano and Miz in a cage. And
looks like here they're gonna have they're gonna have Rollins in theory, U.S. steel cage match, U.S. title steel cage match. At least advertised. You're gonna have Bianca versus Becky versus Bayley, Raw Women's Triple Threat.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're talking about Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, the OC, Judgment Day, Johnny Gargano, your favorite.
There you
and
go.
The Miz.
There you go.
Well,
So
we'll
it's
see what
all
happens.
Raw. It's a Raw show.
Okay.
The Raw show. Okay.
But yeah, we're excited. The kid, every time I take him, he's like, "Dad, can we sit on the floor? Can we sit on the floor?" And I'm like, "No, it's way too fucking expensive." He wants to sit front row, but house shows, the way this one's set up is that there's a row of seats by the entrance ramp at the back, and that's where we're gonna sit. So if they come walking around the entrance ramp slapping hands, the kid will at least be able to get to meet some people. So.
Bring a marker and like a title or something for them to try and get signed by anyone they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like something generic. Because I mean,
he's got both titles because he's a Roman guy. This is his hat. He wanted me to wear it on the show today. So shouts to Junior Bishop, the pawn, if you will. He does slide sideways to kill people, so it's all good. But yeah, this is his hat, his God Mode hat. He loves Roman Reigns and the bloodline. Unfortunately, they most likely won't be there. But either way, yeah, he has both titles because Roman has both titles.
Do you have any like women's titles?
I don't.
Okay. I'm just wondering. Yeah. Although we went to an event once and I took a kid up front and let him pick whatever he wanted from the merch stand. He wanted the red Universal Kids title, and we tried to get it signed. And it's kind of funny. The only two people who signed it was Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns. And I was like, motherfucker, dude, you got a Universal title signed by Roman and Becky? Like, hold on to that. Like, but yeah, dude, guys, that's our Boozies. That's the old bottoms up Boozies. What? Logan Paul doesn't need an honorable mention because he's got awards by Bishop and stuff.
Fine.
He got brought up a lot. Logan Paul was brought up a lot. How are you going to honorable mention somebody who's been?
He got match of the year.
He got match of the year by Bishop.
He got rookie of the year.
And rookie of the year.
Sorry, we didn't mention Logan Paul, guys. Sorry.
You want to honorable mention Roman Reigns too?
Speaking of honorable mentions, just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
That's the first one. And the second honorable mention would be notice how we didn't bring up Sasha Banks at all tonight.
Yeah.
I know you want to talk about storylines in the background that we don't know, the vacating of the tag titles for the women and all that stuff. And what her trajectory is in 2024 or 2023. I'm sure you'll talk about that more on tomorrow's episode 1, NXT, indie AEW Boozie show.
She hasn't done shit in 6 months. We didn't talk about Charlotte either because she hasn't been around either.
Well, no. But in terms of Sasha, though, the backstage, the Boozie for behind the scenes.
That is not a good backstage story, dude. That is a lot of negativity. You're like, should I give him the award to CM Punk?
No. It is a story to talk about.
Yeah,
but behind the scenes.
I think there'll be a lot more talk about Sasha next year. To be honest, I mean, there's a little bit there for sure. If you're gonna get like that kind of behind the scenes, though, then yeah, go CM Punk, I guess, because motherfucker got bit.
That's tomorrow's show, bro. Or is it tonight's show? Rumble.
Yeah. Rumble.
I would turn it off. I would just turn it off.
Yeah.
Easily. It's not worth it.
No,
it's not worth TV time.
Number
He just
30.
I don't get it.
Look at my... and watch the world burn, Bishop.
No.
I'm good. I would just turn it off. I would just say, Marsh, text me when you're done.
Too soon.
Let me know what it's on. It's no.
Are there any? I think we did a pretty decent job of doing some honorable mentions along the way. Things that we thought could have been and should have been, and all that. Like I was happy that you gave Gunther the one because I think Gunther and Ricochet both have done a lot. I think Ricochet deserves an honorable mention of sorts. Like what he's done the last 6 months has been pretty impressive. Samantha Irvine, I wanted to give her an honorable mention shout out just as like you can hear it in her voice the amount of fun she's having.
Oh yeah, she's doing incredible.
She makes me smile whenever she brings out these people. And it's like, a lot of times you hear it and you just go, yep, that's their name. Or worst case, you hear it and you go, oh my God, this guy's saying it like this and turn the volume down, which happens weekly. But with her, you hear the way she's announcing people and you can't help but smile and get pumped and be excited about it. She's got her own voice and her own way of doing it. And I think it's perfection.
Kevin Patrick on commentary has really, really come into his own by the end of the year. I remember we came on episode 1 after his first appearance, and it was tough. And we both gave Corey Graves credit for carrying the entire broadcast. It was so noticeable. It was flawless. He was fucking amazing. But now they're really bouncing back and forth off each other in a great way. And honestly, he's really fucking good on commentary.
He's solid. And I remember, I'm pretty sure Kevin Patrick is a drinking buddy, friend of the show, because literally the week after I said the only problem with him is he's just got no energy. He's just too low energy. He needs to sound excited, get a little bit excited. The next Monday night, he was suddenly getting hopped up about stuff. And I was like, here we go. Here we go. So yeah, he's clearly a friend of the show, and we appreciate him coming through. Him and Bruce Pritchard. Well, I mean, Bruce also a friend of the show, could have relayed it, but you know how it goes with those guys. Like, it's tough to remember everything from everybody, which is why I assume Kevin Patrick's probably drinking with the show and having a good time. So,
honorable mention. Ezekiel was almost Rookie of the Year.
Ezekiel could have been Rookie of the Year if it weren't for the tragic injury.
Yeah,
could have been.
Yeah. And Kevin Owens is an honorable mention. He didn't win any awards from any of us, but he's amazing.
That's probably
Boston, bro.
That might be the most true thing that's ever been said on this show.
Yeah. I mean, he was involved in a couple matches. We said, like, we talked about Stone Cold and KO. We talked about like, I put my match of the year being the match hasn't even happened yet. And he's clearly involved in that. But I do think that as a standalone performer, he might be one of the absolute best. He's like a top 5 all-timer of the modern era. You know what I mean? Like, he's perfect every time he goes. He never does anything and you go, oh, he missed on that one. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's kind of flat for him. Like, everything he does, you just go, God, yeah, how could you do that better? Like,
and in half a second, he turned babyface.
Yes.
Now him and Seth are moving babyface because they decided to.
Dude, his backstage stuff when he calls out the other heels for ignoring shit that they had done is always so perfect. When Elias came over, he's like, would you team with me? He's like, you think I forgot?
Right. Right.
You've been driving me mental for the better part of the year. And he goes, that was my brother. Go, oh, okay. He's like, that aside, last time I saw you, Elias, right? You hit me there with a guitar. Elias like, come on. Like,
Kevin Owens is always self-aware.
He shows
in his character, super self-aware of where he is, where he was, and where he's going.
He truly is the voice of the people. As much as CM Punk always tried to say he was the voice of the voiceless, and as much as other people, as Rock tried to say he was the people's champion, Kevin Owens truly is the voice of the regular viewer. Everything he says is the exact kind of stuff we would all say, you know.
And the New Day's doing that now too.
Yes.
I think we didn't give New Day any love this year because they were kind of in the middle of a couple things here or there. But their last couple months, they're really giving the energy back to us. Yeah. It was Xavier Woods. They're in the middle of the ring talking shit, and then he just says to Adam Pearce, just get a referee. I mean, this is how wrestling works, right? Like, it's like they're not afraid to pull back the curtain because they know that we're coming with them. And I think they've tailored their shtick into I guess more meta than like overt, It's more about bringing us with them instead of like performing to us. So I think it's really cool. And what they're doing in NXT, if you guys can talk about that tomorrow, I think is great too, because they had to subdue to show how important wrestling is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they had to pivot on a dime. Big E goes down on a freak accident at the end of March, right before WrestleMania. They're supposed to have the 6-man tag with the Brawling Brutes and everything. So they had to do that super pivot. So yes, during the after WrestleMania SummerSlam area, they were just floating around, and then yes, to be in NXT now as the tag champions gives them a little refresh, kind of like maybe like Dolph Ziggler last year. We'll see where the New Day goes in 2023. But yes, so they are on the upswing again, but they did kind of have to wade water a little bit when Big E went down.
Yeah, and they've had a rough year in general with the injury, G4 going out of business, up, down, down, being back and forth. So they've dealt with
Kofi not in Kofi wasn't in anything really important either. With the other guys out of the way. So
yeah, you should have been. So yeah. But yeah, thanks for everyone for coming through and having a drink with us and having a little good time with our 4th annual first ever Boozies. Graham, thanks for coming in on this one. You weren't in the one last year, right? You were just in the chat?
No. My last appearance was actually it was after Mania.
Yeah, but I'm saying like last year's Boozies, you weren't there.
No,
right?
I was not in.
Yeah. So yeah, we appreciate that. We appreciate Bishop coming through and having a drink with us. Bishop, you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, at Table Takes Podcast on Twitter, TableTakesPodcast.com for all audio platforms. I'm working on it, but I love coming on here. Marsh, thanks for having me. Grim, good seeing you, buddy. I love it, man. And wrestling is in for something really, really fucking cool in 2023. And well, if anything, as we said in the beginning of the show, so much cool shit happened. And if that's an indicator of what's to come next year, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and we like having you on here, so keep your whistle wet as your show is on the sidelines.
It's a different whistle.
Different whistle. Graham, you want to tell people where they can find you or no?
Find me in the comments of this show.
Guys, we are at WOTR, the show. I am at Ref Marsh. You can find me all over the place. Go to WrestlingRocks.com to check out some of our other links and stuff. You can find me co-hosting with Medusa on Paving the Way podcast as well at youtube.com/Queen of Carnage. And you can find me working with John Arezzi at Pro Wrestling Spotlight as well, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Spotlight. So come over and check those out as well. And guys, come back tomorrow night right here in the dive bar of the IWC for a brand new episode 1 and Boozies part 2. Guys, that's us call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers.
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.